Hello everyone and welcome to this Quirkos session today. We are today going to be looking at the new features in the transcription version of Quirkos. This is something we're testing at the moment, and it's basically it's a way that we can use audio files that we have from interviews, focus groups, or lots of other sources of audio data, and have them transcribed in a secure process that works only on the Quirkos servers, so it's not shared with anyone else, and it's end-to-end encrypted, so even we can't see the audio or the text data that comes out of it, but it's something that's affordable, very accurate, and very quick. So we're going to show you a little bit about how that works in beta at the moment. Actually, what I'm going to do while I'm describing it is I'm going to start recording a little bit of audio so you can see kind of how it does the transcription. So I've actually just here, right, so let's get this going. Right, so with this I'm just using the built-in microphone from my laptop, so it's not the greatest quality, because it does work extremely well, you know, whether you're working with just recordings on the phone in a noisy environment like a cafe. You don't have to worry too much about it being like a perfect recording. It's very good at picking up different nuances within the audio, picking up strange words, picking up accents, lots of different languages it supports. So it's actually really good. It should be really fun. And what we're going to do is take this transcription, show you how it's integrated into a project in Quirkos, and how you can use that to make the most of your qualitative analysis and qualitative research, and what you can do with the transcription once it's there. So what we're going to do is, I think we're finished with this now. It's long enough. How long do we have here? It's just over a minute, so it's not a very long transcript, but it's enough to give us something to play with. So I'm just going to stop that there. Go File, Export as MP3s. It supports any format basically. I'm going to call this transcription test. Okay. Oh, yeah, that didn't take it very long. Good. So you can work with any kind of audio file you have, recordings on your phone. Yeah, Quirkos Transcribe also works great on your phone. So if you've got a subscription to Quirkos Cloud and you're using the web app, you can use your phone to upload the transcript there, which is really great because you can just, while you're doing the interview, record it on your phone, have the transcription ready just a couple of minutes after you finish the interview. You also use it for just recording like your own notes and observations on the phone. So it's a really fun way to kind of explore and work with the data. So I'm just going to create a new project here. We'll transcribe webinar. And I've got a new project in Quirkos Web. I'm going to take you through a little bit more about how we work with this in a minute. But basically, if you've not used the Quirkos Web before, it's very easy to work on any browser or on any device. Wherever you are, you can pick up. There's live collaboration with an unlimited number of people if you want to work on the project at the same time. And you can bring in sources from all kinds of text documents like Word files, PDF files, CSV, plain text, rich text, etc., etc. What I'm going to do today is the transcribe option, which is only in the beta testing channel for now. We're hoping to launch it in the next couple of months. And what I do is when I click on this, it asks for my account password, because this will be used to encrypt the file. So it verifies your account password and is used to encrypt the file so that interlopers don't have any access to it, but also we don't have any access to it. So I'm going to choose here transcription test. And you'll see there's a little progress bar along the top. And what this does is encrypts the data on your device before it's sent, so it can't be heard by anyone, intercepted, and we can't hear it ourselves on our server, and then it's sent to our server to transcribe and get sent back to us. At the moment in the testing version, there's no notification when it's done. So you have to kind of click on transcribe, and then transcription test, it says in progress. So it runs about 30 to 60 times faster than real time. So basically, if you had an hour-long interview, it would come back in about a minute. So this is probably done now. Yeah, it's done. So it took less than a minute to bring that in. And there's the text. So let's see how this looks. Right, so with this, I'm just using the built-in microphone for my laptop. So and there's a bit of break here because I paused. It's not the greatest quality, but because it does work extremely well. You know, whether you're working with noisy recordings on the phone in a noisy environment like a cafe, you just don't have to worry too much about perfect recording. It's very good at picking different nuances. So this is really good. It's picked up every word. Quirkos is the one word that it's not very good at picking up at the moment, but we're looking at that too. And so, yeah, that's given us something to play with. If there's anything in here we need to edit, we can do that quite easily. So we can click here, choose edit, and then if we want to, for example, change this to be Quirkos, I think that's the only real mistake. Yeah, everything else looks really good. We're kind of changing how it does the paragraph breaks and things. So this is something that it will get a lot better at as we kind of tweak and tune it a little bit. It's just taking up my pauses here and putting breaks in there, which is sometimes helpful, but not in this case. And so, yeah, now I'm pretty happy with how this looks. It's always embarrassing when you see a verbatim transcript like this. You might want to take out your little kind of foibles of speech, like and so because some of this let me say it should be really fun. That's embarrassing. Anyway, so yeah, when we're happy with that, how that looks, we'll save that, and that's our transcript there. And so we can get going coding with this right away. So we can code with it. We'll create a new code here called recording quality description. I need to put that really. Choose a color, and there, that text from our transcriptions got put into that. And this is about create a new one called noisy environment. Oops. So creating codes in Quirkos is very easy. You just select some text and you can drag and drop it on there. It doesn't matter if text overlaps. You can have it in the same place. So if you want to talk about cafes too, we'll call this, another code here, accents and languages. I'll choose a different color. So if you want to edit anything on this, you just right click, choose edit. I don't think we use yellow yet. Okay, good. So that's got updated. So it's very easy to draw, to move these codes around. So if you want to kind of change how this looks on the canvas, obviously this is very big, we've only just got a few here, but you can zoom in and out to change this. Yeah, so that's the process of then working with this like any other type of file. And obviously you can bring in text sources as well. So if you've got written material, if you've got policy documents or literature reviews or other sources of transcripts, so other transcripts that you have, then you can bring these all in together. And there's no kind of restriction on what you do with the data. Once it's transcribed, you can copy and paste to export it. You can also export it as a file. So if I export sources as Word document, I've now got a Word file here, so it's come through a bit big. With the transcript, and also it shows how I've done the coding here as well. So that's really good, and I can share this with anyone. So it's oops, I duplicate it. So it's really easy to get your transcripts out, and as I showed, they come back extremely quickly. So if we try it with a slightly longer file here, we just click on transcribe, password to encrypt again. And then got here 3 minutes of very noisy cafe recording. And this is kind of the one we've been testing for quite a long time. So just a little extract here, but you should see how well it's able to kind of deal with all that different noise, different speakers, and so on. So again, what we have to do here is click on the transcribe, and it shows in progress. So it would take, again, probably about 20 to 30 seconds for something that's about 3 minutes long. It's very quick. Again, what we're seeing in the benchmarks is about an hour's audio comes back in about a minute. Still going on now. So it's very quick. And we don't have a kind of pop-up notification yet, but all these aspects of the interface we're working on at the moment. So once our password to unencrypt the files, nobody else can get at that. And so this is one of the audios here from audio files here from the referendum teaching project that we use. This is one that's I can't play you the audio for confidentiality reasons, but it's someone with a heavy Scottish accent filmed in a very noisy cafe, and you can see here it's getting everywhere. Can you remember when you first heard there's going to be a referendum? To be honest, no, I wouldn't have said I've been politically aware beforehand. So I was to impinge on your consciousness when you started to worry, oh Lord, there's a chance we might actually get it right now. You can read the whole of this transcript in our kind of example projects if you wanted to look more at it. And what you'll see is that this is extremely good, and compared to the professional transcription that we have, has pretty much the same level of accuracy, which is really fantastic. It's particularly good at picking up names, abbreviations, and things like that. Not perfect, but again, very good. And now we've got this in our project as well, so we can edit this here. Again, if we want to change how it's done, the formatting here with the pauses, if we want to change any words that it's got wrong, but these are probably all, this all looks pretty good. Again, so at the moment it doesn't have automatic identification of different speakers. That's one of the things that we're working on during the testing program, and something definitely we're looking to add within the next kind of 6 months or so. But we hope it's going to be out much quicker than that. As you can with the other projects, you can set the properties here. So this in Quirkos is how you start to group things. So we can create a property, for example, called data type. What we would say is this is a transcription, or let's call it an interview transcription, because we might later have a classification which is for focus groups, for example. So we can say that that's from one of those, and we could just say that this is actually different data type. This is actually just a voice memo, or like a verbal note, I guess. That'll do. And then what we can do here with the filters and the query here is we can choose the data type here. We can see results just from the interview transcriptions that we have in the project, or we can see results just from, choose the data type, verbal note. This is the data that we coded from the verbal note source, and which source it came from here. It links back to it there. So obviously with a little example like this, it's difficult to see quite how good it is when you've got lots of different projects, lots of different sources within the project, how good those properties are for showing you how you can see what's going on, filter by those different properties if you want to see people by age, gender, location, or any other demographic information you had, or if you're integrating types of data. And I'm always a big fan of using literature, so journal articles, chapter headings, keeping them in your project with your data. So it makes it very easy to compare and contrast across the different data sources. And obviously Quirkos supports you to do that, but you can also filter it in such a way that you only see the results from your data when you want to write up that particular part of it. But when you want to come and see, you know, how do people talk about accents in the literature, for example, you can see how that contrasts with the literature. So if you've got something in each of these different sources, you can see very quickly with the code. If you double click on one of the code, this is all the different text which is under it and the different sources that it comes from. If we click there, it takes us back to that point in the text, so we can see where that came from. Now there's also lots of ways in Quirkos that you can manage your codes and your coding sources. As I showed you a little bit before, you can zoom in and out a lot in the web client. You can also right click to add a new source anywhere you want. We might call this accuracy factors. Probably quite a terrible concept definition, but it'll do for now. And we could add some text to that if we thought that was relevant there. But we can also drag and drop bubbles onto each other to create subcategories. So for example, we can drag noisy factors onto there to create a subcategory, and we all have these as nested subcategories. So now under our accuracy factors hierarchy, we've got accents and languages, recording quality, noisy environment. Sorry, I'll zoom in a bit so it's a bit bigger to see. We can very easily move all those around, and we can create as many different codes as we need to. So we might also have things like voice notes, iterations, confidentiality, and that's obviously like a very big thing for us when we were kind of developing this. I mean, there are a lot of automated transcription services out there that I don't think kind of treat the data with enough confidentiality for working with sensitive qualitative data. I mean, you'll see like Microsoft and Azure services, for example, Office 365, they have the right to share your project with humans to listen to and fix and evaluate. So somebody could be listening to your recordings. You look at services like Otter.ai, they reserve the right to use any of your transcriptions in their advertising and make that public. Our service doesn't use any third-party providers. The data's not shared with anyone. It runs on our own server, which is also not shared with anyone else. And it's end-to-end encrypted and at rest. So you're the only person that can access the data. Even we can't access that data. And it makes it a lot more secure and confidential. And I think, especially when you're working with transcripts, when they're not anonymized, that's extremely important. If people are going to be mentioning names and individuals or particular places, they're talking about sensitive topics, it could be easy to identify someone with that information before you have the transcript, and then you can kind of de-anonymize any of those particular identification criteria. But before you do that, when you have that raw audio, it's very risky. So I think was very important that we could have a system that would be good and accurate, but also that we could run in such a way where the data wouldn't get shared with anyone and it was end-to-end encrypted. And they will work on any device as well. So Windows, Mac, Linux, it doesn't require a powerful computer. Our server does all the work doing the transcription. And it also works on your phone or tablet. So again, as I said before, it's super handy to be able to get that data back really quickly, to record directly on your device, and then be able to transcribe and have the transcripts with you just a couple of minutes after you've finished your interview. It's really kind of changes the way you think about collecting data. And then it's right there in Quirkos. You can export it if you want to, but when it's in here, you can do all the kind of coding and analysis that you would do in you need for your qualitative research, no matter what kind of paradigm you're doing. If you're doing thematic analysis, grounded theory, IPA, or any of these kind of things, Quirkos tries to be pretty agnostic, so lots of people can get on and do that. So the other thing we can do here is lots of different ways that you can kind of play with the codes. You can kind of arrange them in a grid like this. You can put them in a list view, which is kind of more similar if you're working like this. And you can change the size of the codes by zooming in and out. You can also change the all these kind of different views and layouts. Again, in this kind of project, it doesn't look particularly difficult, but obviously, as you'll probably know, as you start working on it more, you may start to have dozens or even a couple of hundred codes, and being able to manage them in some way is really helpful. And then there's a bunch of other exports that we can have as well. I already showed you the exporting as Word documents, but you can also create report here, which gives you lots of information about the project. So it's not zoomed in particularly well for the streaming, but you can see here, you can see how the text has been sorted by the theme, the different things people have said on each of the different themes, memos if you've done that, and some general information about the project, the properties we have there. So half our sources are interview transcriptions, the other half are verbal notes, and then again a visualization here of how the canvas looks like. We can turn off those numbers there if we need to as well. We can save that in different formats, but then one of the other useful things which I didn't show so far is this kind of the memos here. So this is another way that you can kind of annotate the text. I'm just trying to get this a bit bigger for you as we stream it across all these different screens. Right. So the memo column here, we just open that up, means that we can just select some text, drag and drop that on there. Whoops, sorry. Drag and drop that on there, so we can create a new annotation on that. So this was the end of the recording, and then we save that little annotation there. So we can annotate the text as well. Whenever we click on that, it shows us what we've put the annotation of. We can say Quirkos was the only word that was wrong. Obviously, it's not a commonly used word, it's a trademark, so those things don't come up too well. And so being able to write in this way, to annotate, is very helpful. Not only for your own notes, but you certain approaches like IPA, where you're doing line by line coding, or when you're doing something like in vivo coding, where you're using the participant's own terminology to decide your codes. It could be useful to just do this with these little kind of like side annotations first before you go here and create codes. So you kind of have a flow where you're starting with the text, summarizing it kind of line by line here, and then going over to create codes from that as well. And that's very common in things like IPA. But you can also take notes kind of at the kind of whole project level. There's a live chat function which is built into Quirkos Web and Quirkos Cloud. It's obviously useful when you're collaborating on a project with people, and you can say, yeah, hey, how are you getting on here? But you can also use it if you're only working on the project yourself as basically a kind of a research journal, a kind of log of your analysis process. And it's very handy to kind of have a, as we have here, kind of like a timestamp view of what's happening, what decisions you made. So I just started coding, already not sure that accuracy factors is the best term here. And so you can keep a kind of running note of how you're doing the analysis and interpretation, some of the things that you're finding in the data to kind of keep those like fresh in your memory, and also some of the things that things you might want to go back and look at again, issues with particular bits of data, or any way you want to kind of try something afresh the next time you come to the data. There are other tools in Quirkos that help you kind of find particular things in the data. So for example, in the filter view here, we can do a text search, but we can also do a word cloud here of the project. And this shows us how common all the different words in the project appear. So independent, because we've got that source about independence, know, so, well, about, and then clicking on independent, for example, will show us all the places where that pops up, where that is shown. We could also do that text search directly in here. So we choose text search in here. We've just updated this. We can say quality, I think came up. Yeah, so it's in our recording quality thing. They've got the word quality is shown there. So the text search is another handy way to kind of look through the data there. One of the lovely things about Quirkos Cloud is that you can be using the desktop app. You can be using this, which is the web app. They're compatible between each other and have very similar capabilities. So pretty much everything you can do in one, you can do the other. And we're working to kind of minimize all the changes and add new features to the web client as we go forward. So that's basically kind of an overview of Quirkos Web and the new transcription service we're going to be launching. Brief kind of discussion about affordability. So the transcription service will be an optional extra, so you won't be forced to subscribe to it. It will cost a little bit extra a month, but will be extremely good value. So I think you'll find that it's about, depending how you look at it, like a quarter or a tenth of the price of some of the other transcription services which other qualitative software with strange names has at the moment. And it'll be very competitive with any of the other ones that you have out there. But I do think that the transcription accuracy and the level of confidentiality, security and privacy will be above everything else. And that's been very important for us to develop. So we've got lots of researchers testing the service at the moment, testing it with different accents and language, giving us feedback about how they'd like the transcription to come back and so on. And once we're kind of happy with that, we'll probably launch this within the spring, we're saying. So probably March or April, I would have thought, by the time we make this live. And then anyone with a Quirkos subscription will be able to take advantage of it. And yeah, there'll be discounted rates for, as there are for our subscriptions for students and academics and so on. But it's going to be very affordable for anyone. And yeah, just because of the speed and accuracy and convenience, I think it's going to really kind of change about how people can collect data, the ease of going ahead and using things like constant comparative analysis or grounded theory, where you're encouraged to use kind of continuous recruitment cycle, to go back and speak to more people. It won't replace professional transcription services, I think, but for a lot of, especially students who don't have the budget for that, I think this will be a much easier option with a lot more flexibility than having to send a batch of transcripts off and waiting 48 hours a week sometimes for them to come back. Again, being able to get them back within a minute or two it really changes how you think about data collection and what you can do with the data. And for larger projects, what you can do within a particular time frame, and maybe you can speak to more people because it makes it more affordable. Then it's a lot more powerful about how the different kind of results you can come out with. So we're really excited about this advance and being able to share it with you. We'll have a lot more details on it kind of closer to launch about how it works and some of the limitations and pitfalls. But if you've got any questions, do feel free to email us. If you want to come on the beta program and try it out, do drop us an email. We'd love people to test and give us our feedback. But otherwise, great to have you today. Do try out Quirkos and let us know if you need any help with it and how you get on with it. Thanks so much for coming along today.